Naomi is a wealthy merchant who lives in the city. Her house is built along the sea where the wind carried. Kaito, he is a small boy in a small fishing village. He was born mute, and he is a fisherman. Zito, he's a student who asks a lot of questions, and he always wants answers to his questions. Kenzo is an old farmer who plant rice and maize on his farmland, and he is having a horse. In a quiet mountain village wrapped in bamboo forests and stone paths, there lived a potter named Haru. He was known far and wide for his beautiful teacups, slender, perfect, glazed with a soft celadon that caught the morning light like dew. One morning, just before a visiting noble was due to arrive and purchase Haru's latest set, a young apprentice, his nephew, tripped over the drying shelf and shattered half of the finished cups. Haru did not shout. He simply swept the pieces into his palms and whispered, "Perhaps they were not meant to serve tea." The villagers thought him foolish for not punishing the boy, but Haru's eyes held a calm deeper than their judgment. And so begins the story. Chapter 1. The Farmer's Misfortune. Far away, in a valley where cranes circled the rice paddies and frogs chorused by the stream, there lived an old farmer named Kenzo. He owned a single horse and a single field. He had lost his wife to illness, his son to war, and his youth to hard soil. One day, his horse ran away. The neighbors came and clucked their tongues. "Such bad luck," they said. Kenzo only replied, "Maybe, maybe not." The next day, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild stallions. The villagers gasped. "Such good luck." Kenzo shrugged. "Maybe, maybe not." The day after, Kenzo's only grandson tried to tame one of the wild stallions and was thrown. He broke his leg. "Terrible luck," the neighbors exclaimed. Kenzo said only, "Maybe, maybe not." A week later, soldiers came to the village to recruit all able-bodied young men for war. The grandson, injured, was left behind. The villagers came again. "What good luck." And again, Kenzo said, "Maybe, maybe not." Chapter 2. The Broken Roof. In a city built along the sea, where the wind carried both salt and incense, there lived a wealthy merchant named Naomi. One stormy night, part of her roof collapsed under the weight of rain. It drenched her prized silk inventory. In the morning, she wept bitterly. "Everything I built is ruined," she cried. But that day, while trying to dry her goods, she discovered that the sun had bleached the silks into a palette of delicate new colors. Shades her competitors had never seen. They sold out in a week. Years later, Naomi would say, "My greatest success came from my greatest frustration." Chapter 3. The Master's Silence. In a monastery perched high on Mount Koya, a student asked the old Zen master, "Why does suffering happen to good people?" The master poured 2 cups of tea and said nothing. The student waited. Minutes passed. Steam rose. Still no reply. Finally, the master pointed at the tea and said, "If I speak too soon, you burn your tongue. If I wait too long, it grows cold. Suffering is not a punishment or a gift. It's just life being poured." Chapter 4. The Child Who Couldn't Speak. In a small fishing village, a boy named Kaito was born mute. Doctors found nothing wrong with his tongue, his throat, or his mind, but he never spoke a word. Children mocked him. Teachers pitied him. His parents cried in secret. But Kaito only smiled and helped where he could, repairing nets, carrying buckets, tending his sister's illness with silent hands. One summer, a great storm rose. It struck suddenly during the Lantern Festival. Boats were out on the water. Panic spread. Kaito stood by the cliffside watching the tide. And then, he ran to the village bell and rang it with all his strength. When the villagers saw his urgency, they followed. Those who listened survived. Those who stayed behind did not. The next day, Kaito still didn't speak, but no one ever called him broken again. Chapter 5. The Emperor's Tea. An emperor once summoned 10 monks from across the empire. He asked them each the same question. What is the purpose of pain? One monk said, it humbles the proud. Another said, it purifies the soul. A third said, it teaches compassion. The emperor turned to the last monk, an old woman with wrinkled hands and clear eyes. She said, pain is the stone in your shoe. You can curse it, or you can sit down, take it out, and walk more wisely. Either way, the journey continues. The emperor poured her a cup of tea and said, you are the only one who made me feel less afraid. Chapter 6. The Bamboo Lesson. Back in the mountain village, Haru, the potter, began to rework the broken pieces of his teacups. But instead of discarding them, he filled the cracks with molten gold. This ancient technique was called Kintsugi, repairing with beauty. When the noble finally arrived, he saw the golden veins running through the cups and frowned. I ordered perfection. Haru bowed deeply. You received a story. The noble was silent. He took a sip from the golden-ribbed cup. Then he bought every piece. Chapter 7. Everything is the path. Years passed. Kenzo, the farmer, passed away in his sleep. His grandson planted sakura trees in his memory, and when the first one bloomed, villagers gathered to honor the man who never claimed to know what was good or bad. Naomi, the merchant, left her shop to her daughter and used her fortune to teach young women how to start their own businesses. The mute boy, Kaito, became a respected fisherman and elder. He never spoke a word, but people said he listened so well. It was like being heard by the ocean itself. And Haru's golden teacups were passed down for generations, each one cracked, mended, and treasured. Final chapter. The Mountain and the Pebble. At the end of all things, a young monk climbed the same mountain where the old Zen master once poured tea. He had heard the stories of pain and patience, of silence and storms. He stood where the wind touched the earth and asked, why does everything happen? He was alone, but the mountain answered, because you are still becoming. And when he asked, will I ever understand it all? The clouds whispered, not today, but today is enough. Epilogue. A bowl of meaning. Buddhist wisdom does not say that everything is good. It says that everything can be used, even pain, even failure, even the silence we didn't ask for. Everything is the path. If your cup breaks, fill the cracks with gold. If your voice fails, let your actions speak. If the roof falls, see what the sky is trying to show you. This is not blind faith. It is deep seeing. It is not that everything happens for a reason. It's that everything contains one. You are the cup. You, reading this, are also a vessel. Not perfect, not finished, maybe cracked, maybe spilled, but beautiful. And still utterly enough. So when life breaks, don't ask why me. Ask instead, what now? And listen, for the answer may arrive on the wind, in the silence, in the breath between this word and the next.